लाइनें याद नहीं करनी आपने कुछ क्या ब्लॉक किया है, मूव किया है, वो याद नहीं रखना, लेकिन टच अप, इंतजार कर रहे हैं सब लोग, टच अप चले ही जा रहा है.
The red carpet culture, I think, needs to just chill out a little bit.
This is conditioning that has come from the industry.
Absolutely.
It is not so much an individual's problem.
Yeah. After Dangal, I got only female-oriented films, and all characters where I was angry.
Of course, it's going to be one step forward, 5 back. But that's how life is.
Hey guys, I'm Janice Sequeira. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm hanging out with Fatima Sana Shaikh, Kiya Mirza, Sanjana, Sanghi, and Ratna. So the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is, how annoyed and tired are you guys of the term women-centric film? Like,
There's a reason why it's an aberration.
okay, tell me it's not common.
And they need labels, yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal of marketing. You need a label. So chitkao a label.
Correct.
Someday we'll be able to, throw off these labels and just exist as a good film or a bad film.
Yeah.
Someday we will.
I mean, the problem for me at least is that we just had Pukre release, right? We just had Pukre release last weekend. And there also it's from predominantly a male cast. You don't go around saying, oh, this is a male-centric film. And then, because that's not an aberration.
Common है.
Correct.
इसीलिए
It's common.
तो जब भी कुछ नया आता है उसको लेबल करना जरूरी बन जाता है. जरूरी होना नहीं चाहिए बट वो बन जाता है और फिर समय के साथ वो चेंज हो जाता है एंड बिकॉज इट बिकम्स नॉर्मल देन यू डोंट लेबल इट. सो आई थिंक देयर शुडंट बी, एटलीस्ट लाइक आई पर्सनली फील के प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि वुमेन सेंट्रिक लेबल से हमें ऑफेंस नहीं लेना चाहिए कि लोग एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे तो प्रॉब्लम है.
The only problem I can see with what you're saying, Janice, is that the industry tends to slot these films and therefore treat these films without the same respect that they all deserve. That is the problem.
I so agree with her. I think that these this
Slotting, yes, is done worse by the industry.
और ये पेट की का जागरण होता है जो अभी इंडस्ट्री को भी पता चल, मतलब लोगों को भी पता चल गया बिकॉज वी हम लोग नाउ इट्स प्रिंटेड.
बट मुझे उसी से तो प्रॉब्लम है कि मतलब वो स्टीरियोटाइपिंग हो जाती है. It starts with the trade. Because also I'll tell you guys, while I've not seen the film, I've watched every YouTube review, and I mean every YouTube review I could find my hands on. I watched every review in general that I could read. And I couldn't find a single review, like barring maybe one or two of them who are slightly more bored and who've been doing this for years. So they have a different lens on things, who hadn't used these kind of terms, which automatically tells me कि मतलब कहीं ना कहीं ये दुखी दास्तान है and then it's empowering. And वो slotting से मुझे problem है, क्योंकि मर्दों की फिल्म के साथ ये नहीं हुआ. And I see like that is, and you're right, and then of course the trade gets in, and then your box office numbers get in. And let's be honest, this film deserved a much larger promotional campaign.
I don't know. I think that's a very, very relative thing.
You don't think you would have wanted to promote the film?
If I had produced this film and I was a studio, I would celebrate.
And I'd take it to smaller centers, not just the metros.
Yeah.
In the metros, you're preaching to the converted to some extent.
Correct.
Whereas in the smaller centers, this is a story that needs to be heard.
Yeah.
And they're not going to watch it on OTT. Everyone says it will come out on OTT. OTT is for 3.5 people like us.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
Yeah.
The general public does not, you're leaving them out of this whole circuit that we talk about all the time. And I feel it's a very sad thing.
It's a little ironic, right? Because you obviously, as a studio, believed in the film, which is why
That's why you put in the money.
put in the money to make it. So I think at the end of the day, if you apply commerce to every aspect, then you are not going to be able to really drive change. And to be able to truly drive change, you have to see things through right to the very end, which is to take it to the audience in the shape and form that you made it in, that you believe this, that you believed in the four of us. And that was
I agree. पर क्या है ना, बिजनेस भी बदल गया है. कोविड आया, फिर कैसे करना है, क्या चल रहा है, नहीं चल रहा है. There is a lot of pressure even on studios कि हम ये पैसा डाले, हमें उतना रिटर्न मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा.
That conviction
बट वो आप लव स्टोरीज में भी देखो, अगर दो नए लड़का और लड़की अगर कास्ट हुए हैं और वो मिड लेवल की फिल्म है, कोई नहीं करता. मैं तमन्ना से मिली थी द अदर डे एंड शी वाज लाइक कि आजकल प्रमोट ही नहीं कर रहे. सो इट्स आल्सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग राइट नाउ इन द इंडस्ट्री. बिकॉज पहले क्या होता था कि आपको पता था कि सिर्फ थिएटर में आ रही है और आप उतना पैसा डालोगे तो शायद आपको आंखें मिलेगी. अब क्या है, फिल्में ऑलरेडी ओटीटी पे बिक गई है, तो उनको पता है कि हमारा पैसा आ गया है, तो हम इतना डाले भी या नहीं डाले. until and unless, मतलब see, there is so much, there are so many layers to even to the business, and it's changing and evolving with the times. Up until Pathan came, we weren't sure if Bollywood films are working or not. So you need that one film to break it. You also need people to believe in it. But there are far and few.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
Risk takers.
Yeah,
they are the ones who cause real change. And risk takers are few and far between. It's not fair to expect everyone.
Yeah.
Have they been risk takers when the money is their own?
No.
You understand? At the end of the day, even a studio, it's not their own money. If it was, then maybe they'd react the same.
देखो प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ ये है. I'll be really honest with you, Inzet. तो मैं I was going to watch the film on the weekend before I fell ill. तो मेरी ग्रुप है, तो हम लोग फिल्म में जाके देखते हैं साथ में. तो मैंने कहा दफ्तर जाके लॉन्ड्री. हाँ मतलब दे नॉट फ्रॉम
Normal,
हम लोग को फिल्में देखना पसंद है और थिएटर में देखना पसंद है. मैं प्लान बना के जाके देखते हैं.
Excuse me.
That is unique. Fatima,
You'll get used to it. Like nobody reacts.
Yeah.
They don't react.
I'm reacting as you to me. और प्रॉब्लम ये हुआ कि मैंने कहा जाके दफ्तर देखते हैं. The first question was what is that?
Yes, we know.
And that
That is so sad.
It is.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It has been really heartbreaking for
मेरा
us.
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि तो कॉमर्स वो सब दूसरी बात है.
I agree.
ओके पॉइंट ये है कि अगर किसी को पता ही नहीं है कि आपकी फिल्म रिलीज
कोई देखेगा नहीं.
तो वो आइडियाज आएंगे भी कहाँ?
100%.
And then again, the commerce doesn't work there, right? Because if you're saying I don't want to spend on the promotion of the film, and then no one knows about that, and then why aren't releasing it in the theater?
It's called a token release
Yeah.
based on a condition that a platform is later.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are just dry facts,
Yeah.
which have taken at least.
And as heartbreaking as they are, that is the ground reality.
However, that doesn't answer a trailer releasing this 3 days prior to a film. That's a question that
That is like beyond.
that's we. I mean, I think we're all inundated with that question. That why did we get to see a trailer before?
Yeah.
So that if we got to see it 15 days prior and you didn't promote it, at least we had the chance to warm up to the idea of.
And we would have promoted at least on our, or even Pranjal and Tapsi from their own side.
Because I want to tell you guys that ये जो हम Monday को introduce कर रहे हैं, ये हम pretty much like हमने, I mean, I think we just made, I remember calling you, I sent a message to you, I sent a message to you, then I sent a message to the team, and ये मतलब ऐसे
Organically हुआ.
ये organically हुआ है, ये किसी ने
ऐसे
मतलब
बहुत कुछ organic है.
हाँ.
I still think that we are at least a little more acceptable than another little film that just came out along with ours called Court. As I knew about it because my son is acting in it. And it's a film about caste. Nobody wants to hear this story. Nobody's interested in it. Nobody's interested in what is happening to rural India. So, I mean, there are so many other films which are just not even getting
Any
even
attention.
Nothing. They're just being thrown. And it's not a bad film.
Yeah.
And therefore, I mean, it breaks your heart even more.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time. It's been happening. I remember starting work in 74, 75. That's when this whole new film, art film, again, look at the labels. कितने लगाए थे? लगा के, हर तरह का. ये तो अभी आया वो सब. पहले तो it was art film. And it was like a gali. Art film. So, what I'm saying is that a certain kind of film that's trying to be different from what is commonly accepted is going to have to fight its way into the limelight.
I agree. Honestly, मुझे नहीं पता था कि ये फिल्म थिएटर में आएगी. मुझे लगा था कि OTT पे आएगी. मैं तो खुश हो गई थी कि चलो कम से कम थिएटर आ रही है. So our expectations are only changing with time. Until Pathan came out, मुझे लगा था OTT पे ही आएगी. It is when things opened up, फुकरे चली, ड्रीम गर्ल चली, तो हमको लगा ओ मिड रेंज फिल्म भी शायद चल सकती है. वो आपका आसपास का जो माहौल है वो डिफाइन करता है कि आपके आने वाली 4 फिल्मों का क्या होने वाला है. अगर वापस ठप हो जाएगा तो वापस प्रोड्यूसर स्टूडियोज पैसे पकड़ेंगे, बोलेंगे यार इसके ऊपर फिल्म अच्छी है लेकिन शायद जो हमने पैसा डाला है उतना वापस नहीं आएगा. तो इज इट वर्थ इट? यार मेरी बहुत बड़ी फिल्म आ रही है ये फलाना ढिमकाना के साथ, एटलीस्ट ओपनिंग लगेगी क्योंकि ये एक्टर के साथ ये ओपनिंग लगती. अभी ये रियलिटी है और हम लोगों को चैलेंज करने के लिए जैसे इन्होंने कहा कि वी नीड people who are risk takers and there are far and few. So what is the general expectation? A very low standard. But then there is a film like Court also, which is not a women oriented or women centric.
बेचारा वो तो कोई सुना भी नहीं.
पता ही नहीं.
Nobody will even talk about it. Or even register it came and went.
Correct.
And it's a pity.
Films find
Anyway.
their audience.
Eventually. And the most important thing, now that I've been around for so bloody long, I can tell you this, that however successful XYZ film may have been, some little film on the side will get remembered 40 years later.
Yeah.
Yes, because that film was a good one. And that 100 crore thing was not so good. So 100 crore कमा लिया, आपने पैसा कमाया, ये लोग नाम कमाएंगे. अलग-अलग है ना? अलग-अलग है. And history, and now nobody is interested in history. If you ask a young person today, who is Dilip Kumar, what is Dharma, nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows.
No. That's
I'm
true.
sorry, I should have segment called Easy Paisa, where literally we ask all these kind of like really funny and like basic questions that I get 100 rupees per question. I asked someone like about Kareena Kapoor the other day, and you were like, cool.
But, oh dear.
So I'm just like, okay, तो मतलब I can't even see Dilip Kumar, Madhubala, all these.
अरे वो तो भूल ही जाओ, that's prehistory.
We live in a bubble of
Yes, bubble.
And I mean, it's and bubble can be pricked at any second.
Yeah.
So you ask that bubble about K-pop, they'll give you 20 names. They don't know.
बट वो नए जनरेशन के साथ वही होता है ना, उनको जो अट्रैक्ट करता है, जो अवेलेबल है, टेक्नोलॉजी चेंज हो रही है, द वे वी कंज्यूम मीडिया वो चेंज हो रहा है. सो व्हाट डू यू एक्सपेक्ट? इट विल नॉट बी. हमारे जो जनरेशन के मतलब मेरे मम्मी पापा बोलते थे कि ये क्या ये जनरेशन है, अब हम भी बोलेंगे ये क्या जनरेशन.
नहीं, मैं ये कभी नहीं बोलूंगी.
आप नहीं बोलोगे?
मैं कभी नहीं बोलूंगी क्योंकि ये जनरेशन इज द जनरेशन दैट्स डीलिंग विद द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ टुडे. So आई एम नॉट लुकिंग डाउन ऑन देम. ऑल आई एम सेइंग इज दैट वी हु सिट अराउंड फीलिंग कि हमने इतना ग्रेट काम किया और हम तो हिस्ट्री में चले गए, कुछ नहीं. 2 सेकंड में आप भूले जाएंगे. तो आज पिक्चर अच्छी गई है, शुक्र मनाओ, एंजॉय करो. But I can talk.
Let's go round. Yeah. I want to know each of you because I feel like also we're representing
different generations
and different generations. I want to go down and ask this question. What is your take on today's generation?
I wouldn't like to be one of them. Let's put it like that. It's a generation that is being seriously battered from every side. It is a generation that has had very little guidance from parents. We all grew up with parental guidance. Today's parents have absolved responsibility. They've handed an iPad to their child and said, iPad, teach my child everything that it needs to know about life. My parents didn't do that. I didn't do that to my children. And that, I think, has been a crucial change. That parents have absolved themselves of responsibility. Left it to teachers, left it to social media, left it to something or the other. I don't want to take responsibility. That's one big problem. The second thing is they are being buffeted constantly by information. Now, information without assimilation has no value. So they are in serious trouble from that point of view also. And plus, their expectations are very high. They don't imagine that they will ever be thwarted. That they will ever have to face any kind of difficulty because mommy and daddy give them everything they want. I want that. You get it. I've seen children behave dreadfully in restaurants, on airports, every public place I go to. I'm appalled by the way children behave, and I'm even more appalled by the way that parents treat them. Either they ignore them or they whack them. There's no conversation between parent and child most of the time. I'm scared thinking of what kind of a generation are we bringing up. So my sympathies are entirely with today's generation. My heart goes out to them. And I wish I could find some way to help them.
You have someone's 14 years old. You're years old at home with you. Do you feel the same way?
I feel very differently. I feel like this generation or young people in the world today are living through a crisis that is not of their own. They're living through a time that is horrific at so many levels. They're living through an exposure to just physical harm, emotional threat. There's all kinds of challenges. Whether it's climate change or it's war, there's so many aspects to it. And then they have to, like, even before their own ego is defined, they are experiencing an alternative ego. So through social media, being on digital platforms, so their an ability to just make sense of life.
Just so compromised. Poor things.
With, but I work with amazing kids, Jan. Here with young people all over the country across social channels, and it's incredible to see how, despite the challenges of circumstance, they are so committed to self. They
And I would say that is really true, Dia, because I work with a lot of kids across the country as well. But I say what I see is that it's children not from urban elite privileged classes. They are the ones who are really making the best of what they've got. Is very dangerous. I understand.
and it does exist. It exists in urban sectors predominantly. And I feel it too with our Ukrainian word. I have to keep reminding God that the realities at life are far removed and the protected world and bubble she lives here. So that's my responsibility to take her out there, and get her to engage
Exactly.
with real.
So that's your parental contribution. And that's not a contribution most parents want to make. I've got friends who teach in creches, and the way mothers come and talk to them, she says it's unbelievable. These are their 2 and 3-year-old kids. And the way the parents talk is shocking.
No, I'm surprised by that theory.
Difference of what?
Right now, most of my girlfriends who have children talk about this entire concept of helicopter wars, right? Moms who want to be part and over involved with everything. And also, I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I think balance is the right thing, right? Like, I feel like, obviously, the way Ratna Ma'am's parental generation behaved may be different from, say, mine or Dia's, but what they seem to have in common struck was this sense of balance where they did, of course, shield us like every parent would, but they really let us tiptoe into the real world. And
I was pushed.
Pushed into it.
I'm this is the word I was saying.
Burn your finger.
I mean, of course, we or everyone could
Yeah.
say that they would push us.
Yeah.
This overprotectiveness wasn't there because even technology had a huge part to play. We had to step out and figure out who our friends should be, where our opportunities are. We had to go physically to find that.
Yes.
When you don't have to, and it's
Yes.
on you believe that the world
This is here. Yeah.
और मैंने तो वो चेंज होते हुए देखा ना, क्योंकि जब मैं यंग थी तभी फोन, फेसबुक, सब चीज नया नया इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था. हाँ, क्योंकि जब हम शाम को निकलते थे सारे बच्चे नीचे आते थे शाम को, और मतलब
Absolutely.
16 साल, मैं तो 15 की, मेरे दोस्त 20 साल के थे, बट हम लोग खेलते थे. We used to play, we used to talk, we used to sit for hours and not chat on phone.
अरे जब गप्पा मारना into the late night, क्या मजे का वक्त था वो.
पेरेंट्स yelling कि ये नहीं कि फोन बंद करो, बट कि घर आ जाओ, घर नहीं आए हो. So, and also I feel, there are a lot of kids who come from traumatic house, and they don't really connect with parents, and it's a difficult journey, and not always kids are what their parents are. Some figure it out, some take time, and of course privilege also. Entitlement rather is something that makes a child who's not that exposed to the world and who's not that daring. But I think वो हर generation में जो वैसा परिवार होगा, वहाँ का बच्चा हमेशा वैसा ही होगा, considering वो generation के जो भी challenges है और वो दुनिया के जो भी challenges है. अभी टेक्नोलॉजी है तो काफी सारे चीजें और मुश्किल हो जाती है, क्योंकि आप डुअल लाइफ जी रहे हो. जैसे इन्होंने कहा है, आप एक सोशल मीडिया की लाइफ जी रहे हो और वो अब अलग नहीं रही है. वो जो वर्चुअल लाइफ है वो आपकी निजी जिंदगी में हावी हो गई है.
dating your real life.
और आपको वैलिडेशन, there is deep fake coming, there is so much that is happening, there are young kids who are 15-year-old, 12-year-olds who are exposed to एक होता था कि फिजिकल फियर के कोई आपका फायदा उठाएगा. अब आप अगर सोशल मीडिया में नहीं भी और आपका एक फोटो बाहर है, वो फोटो यूज हो जाता है. सो देयर इज पॉर्न मेड ऑफ दीज यंग किड्स and they have no idea. So parents have just put, you know, कि family photo at, and this is the future, this is present. Imagine what the future is going to be, and this is what the young generation is dealing with.
I have an opposite take to this only because I feel like this is one thing that I feel like the current generation has done better than maybe our previous generations.
Conversations.
Dealing with trauma and dealing with mental health.
And being open about it.
And being vocal also about gender issues.
So there are generations.
You think so? I feel like in this house, I feel like
It's the work of previous generation के
Conversations that the younger generation now is.
Naturally, we all stand on our parents' shoulders. My mom talked about it to me. That's why I could talk about it, and so on. खो देते हैं हम लोग सब एक दूसरे को. That's all. We
but
do.
I'm just saying because we're also saying that yes, they are a slightly more lost generation and they're dealing with all the traumas that have come worldwide with climate change, like you said, the wars that are happening, the pandemic, everything. But I also feel like just to give them their due credit, I feel like there is a lot of conversations they are having which maybe our generations did not even
Think about. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We all have parental trauma at some level, but we want the ones to openly start talking about it.
Because there were no conversations, no. अबे क्या है कि लोग खड़े हो रहे हैं और अपने बारे में बात कर रहे हैं and because किसी ने बात किया होगा. So I think because conversation भी easily फैल रहा है, उसके कारण भी because there is availability. Now you can see content, you can see somebody who relates to your story or your narrative. So you feel कि now even I can talk about.
So now hopefully with therapy.
Correct. क्योंकि but पहले
feeling like oh God, they're
correct. Like I do therapy. And I'm very happy that I do therapy.
I do therapy and it's the best thing, best gift I've ever given.
हाँ भाई.
It's odd, but my Nana always, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but he's like, हमें तो कम पता था तो हम ज़्यादा खुश थे.
हाँ, because
he feels like
ignorance is bliss.
Like he's like, you guys know too much, you're aware of too much, so you tend to complicate your own life. So I feel like there's both ways to look at it.
Yes, probably. Probably.
Looking for problems where they don't maybe exist.
In the sense that sometimes we do, I know this because even my generation we do sometimes tend to over-intellectualize even our own issues. Hundreds sometimes.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a double-edged sword.
I get I'm with you on that. Like sometimes it's not the end of the world if you've been told something firmly. That doesn't mean that it's triggering something else necessarily. This sentence is complicated and controversial.
Yeah.
No, but
You
it's
know,
true.
in
No, but you're right.
आप क्या बोल रहे थे?
no, finish.
Half knowledge with it.
And to add to that, when I was in acting school, I was told something that made absolute wonderful sense to me, which went, don't label your characters. Don't put a label on your characters. She is a sad person. She is a poor girl. He is a boy from rich family. You know, we just label all our characters. And then we say, my character wouldn't do this. Human beings are capable of all kinds of behavior all the time.
Correct.
And we don't label ourselves. We don't.
Rehearse in real life is equally important.
Exactly. So we tend to label ourselves much more now. I'm OCD. क्या है वो? Obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm OCD. I'm ABC. I'm PQR. I'm exactly. So everyone's trotting out these little labels. That's also runs its own risks. I just don't like labeling, either as in performance or in life for sure.
No, and also I think क्या है कि when you label without completely understanding, you take away from the person who's actually going through it.
You know, actually, बहुत interesting बात वही in penning. You should repeat that.
I don't know. We've given
Which one?
which one? मैं इतनी सारी अच्छी चीजें बोलती हूँ कि I don't know.
There are people who of course, there's a special emphasis being given to mental health.
हाँ, correct. वो वाली बात. Understanding of mental health.
Misusing it.
बिल्कुल.
For convenience, for simplifying their emotions, and therefore what happens that somebody who's actually going through it, वो फिर वो समझा नहीं पाता कि भाई मेरी जिंदगी में क्या हो रहा है, और वो वैसे ही इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, और आपने अभी लेमैन वर्ड में बोल दिया कि आई एम गेटिंग ट्रिगर्ड. And what does triggered, it's very complicated and it's so difficult and it's so layered, but abhi such is life.
And again, controversial take, I feel like also we need to start using the word triggered with a little bit more
Responsibility.
with a little bit more caution, because if you're going to get triggered for everything,
Then to
how
bhai
is anyone to have a conversation with you?
Correct.
That is
correct
free flowing.
correct हर चीज टॉक्सिक नहीं होती है.
My mother keeps squeezing her.
Oh God! I don't know if you're your kids do this to you or if you're doing this to your parents.
I do.
I am doing it for my mother all the time. I'm like, you can't. You can't use this word anymore. You can't say this anymore. You can't talk about this anymore. My mother's just like, shut up. I am your mother. You are not my mother. So,
But I think that relationship also ना कि with children, आपके पेरेंट्स ने आपको बता दिया, सिखा दिया जो सिखा दिया, then you understand the world and the world is changing, then you need to tell them and explain what you educate them. And I think that's how they are also in tune with the world.
Absolutely.
And that's
I
very
learned so
important.
much from my children.
Yeah.
And thank God for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to become an old fogey
they
anytime
make you more
soon.
politically correct. No?
Absolutely. They are very, very politically correct. And I refuse to tiptoe so much.
Yeah.
So I get into a lot of trouble with them.
But I think sometimes the things that you say, at least from all the interviews that I've been watching, are very, like someone needed to say it.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's put the mantle on. Yeah. Because you know what? If she says it, the rest, no one's going to get that much to listen. Like, how she's talking from experience.
Yeah.
Such.
चल सफेद बाल का फायदा उठाना चाहिए.
Safed bal and good work. It's because you're credible. That's why.
ये सफेद बाल ना प्लीज कभी कमेंट मत करना. मैं पढ़ा था मतलब I think
No, if I had
Unless-
needed for a part here, of course I'll do it.
Unless-
Why wouldn't I?
Don't require.
paying it would be.
To grow it out?
Horrible.
I'll have to shave it off. That's why. Happily, particularly for a role.
Yeah, same.
अब भी क्या? अब तो पूरा फायदा उठाना है ना, जो कर सकते हैं करना है.
But it is so liberating not to be confined by that.
I was going to come to vanity because she said. Because like I feel like one of the things that I'm feeling in this room is that now there is that, oh, you have to look a certain way and that is the only way you will get more parts. वो थोड़ा कम हो रहा है? Am I right or am I wrong?
100%.
In certain ways I feel wrong.
100%. I was told that you can never be a lead actor when I was auditioning.
Yeah.
I was told.
ये कौन सा दंगल के टाइम पे था कि
दंगल के पहले, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे दीपिका, कटरीना, करीना, वो बहुत खूबसूरत औरतें हैं, and
बहुत खूबसूरत हो.
I don't look like them. So I don't look like a prototype of heroines that were there during that time, or who were big, or who were stars. So I didn't fit in that slot. But then Pariniti came, and there were actresses who were more relatable and who were doing commercial films. And then you needed somebody who actually believed in casting newcomers who didn't look like what people think heroines should look like, and also because I was playing a character probably, so they wanted me to look like a certain way. But it needs people who believe in talent, because you can break anything. Any prototype can be broken. You just need somebody to give kho.
Yeah. But I also think to that point, like Patty, we were in a way really lucky that a Dangal or a Dil Bechara, inherently these were parts where vanity was a non-factor.
Yeah,
or
your
Patty's part or my part, it was, we just used to land up on set, and from a makeup and hair perspective, there was zero. I think, at least in my personal belief, that the generation of younger female actors is suffering from, I think, Instagram has ruined the notion of vanity.
वो तो पहले magazines ने किया था.
But Fadi, it's non-stop.
Yeah.
And it is influencing casting, because now I've noticed that the lines are blurry because of how rampant that culture has become of,
So there is a dichotomy there where now you're able to sort of cast all kinds of people without them fitting into a particular mold. There is also
But then it opens out the feelings
because
too.
Dad something said this, and I love that I always end up quoting him, and he always ends up picking up this damn kid. But there was this one fashion week where all the girls looked so similar. in the way they were styled and modeled. So he said Shahi Paneer, Kadhai Paneer, Ye Paneer, Malai Paneer.
But hai
basically
sab paneer.
all paneer. And that is also happening at the same time in the same industry.
और ये होता है क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री इतनी बड़ी
हुआ
है
है।
और वो होता रहेगा, ये भी एग्जिस्ट करेगा, वो भी एग्जिस्ट करेगा. देयर स्पेस फॉर somebody who doesn't फिट इन दैट कुकी का जो कटर है उसमें अगर फिट नहीं भी करता वैनिटी वाइज, वो भी एग्जिस्ट करेगा. somebody who fits into that world will also work. So there is a place to coexist now, and I think we have to appreciate that. और इंस्टाग्राम आएगा, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स आएंगे, पहले मैगजीन्स था, हम सोचते थे साइज 0 सही है, वो बदलता रहेगा. And because there are more conversation, वो और जल्दी बदलेगा.
But there is my almost so many of our choices were driven by insecurity and fear for a very large part of my early adulthood. Yeah, and like because the industry also conditions you to feel that fear and feel that insecure because you are always told you have a shed life because only that many years into it work. And now that I've gone past that stage, and I witnessed somebody like the Ratna Patak Shah who is playing the front line lead in a narrative that is so wonderful like Khabda. She's on the poster. And these are the things that we think about so consciously, but it's such a breakthrough in so many ways. And she said something so amazing the other day. She said, I will act till the day I die. Yeah. Nobody's going to determine whether or not I am an actor or not. And I decide till how long I work. Nobody else decides that. Me, as long as my craft is good and I'm working on it.
All of us. But there is an issue. You need to be given work, no?
Yeah.
As an actor particularly. Otherwise, you have to make your own. So there's that. So a person like me, if I don't get the kind of work I really want to do, I have to make it for myself. And those options are fewer and they're more complicated. I'm not a writer, for example. So I don't know how to create my own work, etc. So there are all these issues. And of course, I would like to work till I drop. So I have to keep myself employable.
No, but there's nothing more powerful than women embracing.
Of course.
But I think you're talking of women, of certain women who have gone past that vanity, because I also feel like I disagree when I'm seeing a lot of the younger actors around me and they need to look very similar to each other, and also makes me wonder that in the casting space then, are they also then equally replaceable? Which is, to me, at least a problem as a cinema, right?
I agree. I agree.
I'm like, that's a problem.
I don't want to see cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah, I'd rather see women looking, because this is that generation where I want to see
Relatable.
every kind of woman on screen.
Yeah.
Right? Not just because they all look the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, is there more pressure on younger actors than to look a certain way and to have that exact body and to wear those high slit dresses? And
I think the pressure exists. I really think that, and like Ratna ma'am and I were having this conversation at our screening at a certain level, it exists when you take it. Because if you make yourself aware of the pressure, I think it exists. The moment you go back to what Dia was saying, decide to hold on to your authenticity so tightly, is only when you will choose that. Today I feel like wearing white linen, which people might call Delhi University as. But so be it, because that's who I am.
just remember it's a Delhi.
And I get, but earlier when I came to Bombay, I used to be called Jhola Wali and all that stuff, just because that's the university I went to. And I don't know, you're teased as that. But I still will, as long as you're you, but it's really hard to sometimes be you. And when I sit with contemporaries, who are right now trying to make their way, everyone is crumbling under different kinds of pressures, which they're taking upon themselves. I don't think anyone is putting that pressure on them. Yeah. There is a culture that is developing, which is very frightening. The red carpet culture, I think, needs to just chill out a little. Earlier, when Dia used to wear that Aifa gown and that filmfare gown, it used to stay in our minds for weeks and weeks. And now we can't keep up with what we wore in the last week. Yeah. That's not how it's supposed to be. I don't think.
you know.
बट वही है कि आपके ऊपर निर्भर करता है. अभी मैंने शुरुआत की थी, जब मैंने दंगल की थी, आई वाज वेरी नाइव. आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग. आई यूज्ड टू वेयर व्हाटएवर आई यूज्ड टू वेयर. मेरे कपड़े, आज भी मेरे कपड़े, कभी स्टाइलिस्ट के पास चले गए. आई वांट टू एक्सप्लोर एवरीथिंग. See, I used to not go to events. Now I've started going, and I want to. There are people who enjoy it, and I want to see how does that make me feel. I don't want to form any opinion, a very strong opinion, until I've experienced it. And first, I want to experience it because I've experienced not going anywhere. हाँ अच्छा है, ये भी अच्छा है. I was not feeling like, but now I want to go. I want to see what is happening. I want to experience people.
Yeah.
I want to be in an uncomfortable.
I want to dress up.
I want to
But
dress
I want to dress up, but how much do I want to dress up?
वो मेरे ऊपर है.
Because what she said, right? Sorry.
हाँ नहीं.
अगर आप मतलब सारे पैपराज़ी के पेजेस देखोगे, आपको नहीं पता चल रहा है कि कौन सा ये अवार्ड चल रहा है या ये स्क्रीनिंग चल रही है.
या एयरपोर्ट लुक है
या
आपका.
फिर एयरपोर्ट लुक है, because
मुझे एयरपोर्ट लुक्स बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं.
I remember Ananya Pandey got so trolled. She went for the screening and she wore jeans and a t-shirt.
Oh, did
So I'm like, तो स्क्रीनिंग के लिए आदमी क्या गाउन पहन के आएगा?
बट वही है ना कि आपको मौका मिल रहा है कि आप लोगों के वो भी एक, देखो वो भी एक पार्ट है हमारे काम का, कि अभी वो सिर्फ ये यहाँ तक नहीं सीमित रह गया कि आप फिल्म कर रहे हो. आप कहाँ जाते हो, आप नहीं, बट
Fatty influencers on YouTube are wearing designer.
so why not? They're working hard.
I'm seeing that the access and exposure to all of this is just global.
Which is that lovely because सब कर लो.
हाँ, सब
फिर उसके
कर लो.
बाद आगे बढ़ोगे.
उसके बाद आगे
That's
बढ़ोगे.
also possible ना.
And
कि हाँ
also-
सब कर लिया, सब लेप पोती सब लगा दिया. हाँ.
अभी
अभी
free
कुछ और
होके-
करते हूँ.
Correct.
थोड़ा सोच भी लेती हूँ मैं.
But also, you know, you can enjoy that and still enjoy work and enjoy acting and put your mind to
As
it.
long as you are enjoying it and you are able to distance yourself from
Exactly.
it. If you buy into
Crumbling,
it,
then that's a
if
problem.
before the shot all you are thinking about is where's the
Hair karo, makeup
touch-up
karo.
guy.
I agree.
I mean that is
100%.
not. लाइनें याद नहीं करनी आपने. आपने कुछ क्या ब्लॉक किया है, मूव किया है, वो याद नहीं रखना. लेकिन टच अप इंतजार कर रहे हैं सब लोग. टच अप चले ही जा रहा. But that is what I find really tiring.
I completely agree. It took me,
इतना अपने आप से प्यार और फिर वो क्या हो जाता. हाँ नो एंड देन यू कैन मेक आउट. नो अपने आप से प्यार भी हो जाता है क्योंकि और दूसरे सामने वाले अच्छे मिलते भी तो नहीं है ना.
बात भी
वो अलग बात है. बट उसका फिर आपकी एक्टिंग में असर पड़ता है. When you are doing a romantic scene, the guy looks like, I'm looking at myself and aren't I looking so gorgeous?
Yeah.
And the girl said, oh my God, aren't I looking so gorgeous? And we are supposed to be in love with each other.
correct.
So, I mean, there's a problem there.
Or you are in a really like terrible zone, like, you know, you've just been like kidnapped and this and that, but your hair is perfect. Your bruises are perfect. I have seen movies and I'm like, it looks like her bruise was like
But that's also the creator's decision.
exactly, but also the actors a lot of times.
A lot of the times the actors, Fatima.
I agree.
This is conditioning that has come from the industry.
Absolutely.
It is not so much individuals.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of the pressure she's talking about, or a lot of the stuff that he mentioned, it all comes from that system.
Then we
It's designed to make you afraid,
correct. Keep all go get
not being accepted, not being visually not being taken seriously, not being valued,
Not being given a job.
not getting
As
a
a
job.
simple as that.
Simple as that. Actually, that's actually the biggest.
Biggest problem.
Yeah.
अगली फिल्म क्या करूंगी? मुझे बहुत सब लोगों ने तारीफ कर दी. काम मिला?
Correct.
खन पाल.
Out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of yeah. It's all nonsense. Yeah, anger.
No, true, this is rat race that we're all a part of and this hamster on the behavior. But ladies, we come to the end of the interview. I have 2 more questions to ask you, okay? One, what is it going to take, according to you guys, to convince, and I don't want to say just men, but I would convince the larger audience to come in to watch films where women are the protagonists, not women-centric films, just where women are the protagonists and maybe there's no male lead attached to it. That's one. That's one part of it. Second part of it, when now you are gone the experience that you have with Davda, where you loved the film, you gave it your heart and soul, but then the people who put the money into it didn't believe in it as much as you did. how do you think that if that creates a ripple effect on other female actors who want to do film?
I
Can
think
we start with the first? What is it going to take to convince audience?
आई थिंक वो ना डिफरेंट अलग अलग होता है. अभी जीले जरा आ रही है, हर किसी को एक्साइटमेंट है, पहले से ही पता है कि वो आ रही है, लोग वैसे ही जाके देखने वाले. ऑलरेडी अभी जीले जरा इसमें अपना क्या नाम है वो
Katrina Kaif, Alia Bhatt, Priyanka Chopra, Farhad Akhtar directed.
It's not even made.
दोबारा की
female version है, तो उसमें already there is so much excitement. Everybody is like, oh my god, these actresses are coming together. So I think setup also makes a difference. Who's directing, who's producing, how big the star is, what they are. बहुत सारी चीज़ होती है, वो एक layer नहीं होता है. हर business का, हर film का ना बहुत सारे layers होते हैं, और वो सिर्फ कहानी अच्छी है या सिर्फ एक्टर अच्छा है या सिर्फ डायरेक्टर. अभी गंगूबाई को इतने सारे लोग गए, सबको एक्साइटमेंट थी. संजय लीला बंसाली बना रहा है, आलिया भट्ट है, किसको नहीं देखनी है. कंगना रनौत की क्वीन आती है, वो चैलेंज करती है. वंस दैट्स अ हिट, देन पीपल वांट टू मेक फीमेल ओरिएंटेड फिल्म्स. आफ्टर दंगल आई गॉट ओनली फीमेल ओरिएंटेड फिल्म्स एंड ऑल कैरेक्टर्स वेयर आई वाज एंग्री और आई वांटेड टू फाइट समबडी. हाँ, बस मेरे को सारे बायोपिक्स मेरे को ही मिलने थे. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बनती नहीं है. आई थिंक बीच बीच में एक ऐसी फिल्म आ जाती है जो चल जाती है, फिर सबको लगता है कि ट्रेंड फॉलो करते हैं. अभी हाउ टू चेंज दैट आई डोंट नो. यू जस्ट कीप डूइंग गुड वर्क. राइटर्स शुड write good films and then we'll get to work in those films.
Anyone else have an opinion to throw on what you all could do to convince?
I feel there's a better representation for women in cinema now than ever before.
100%.
We have more women writing stories, we have more women directing,
Editing.
DOPs, editors. Across all faculties, you have better representation from women. And I feel like the inherent biases are reducing. There are more women leading studios.
And there are more women who are buying tickets. As simple as that. It's not daddy buying ticket for family and everyone trotting off. It is I buy a ticket for a
myself.
film I want to see. Whether it's a child or a woman, it has made a huge difference.
Financial independence.
Financial independence has made a big difference. We have all seen that.
I think a combination of all that, and at the end of the day, whatever said and done, a film reaches its audience. It is great. Why isn't as good intention? I have never subscribed to box office numbers. I don't believe that is what determines the merits of film, of the success or failure. Because I've been a part of films that were doing at the box office that went on to becoming cult films, watched by audiences across generations and loved deeply. So I don't believe this one. I feel like this is again fake talk. No, Hamko is out that and nobody else does. The second is I'm for when I say that with evolving platform accessibility, there is a democratization that will begin to, which I feel and gone back, which is disappearing again. I really pray it comes back. Because one of the most empowering aspects of the democratization was that so many of us who were waiting endless for opportunities were finally heading up.
Yeah.
And that is us.
But that leveled the playing field on OTT. There are so many beautiful, powerful stories that women have been able to be a part of.
Yes, of course.
That never give a law in the wrong format.
I understand. I'm only worried that there's a glut. Like everything, there tends to be a glut of whatever is currently running.
Working.
है ना? And then that glut
Dies.
It self-destructs more than anything else because everyone's jumping on the same bandwagon. So yeah, that's always happened and it will continue to happen. There's just many more of us.
Yeah.
As simple as that many more people in the world and that many more people in our country. And that much more stupidity, I suppose, going around as well. So, of course, it's going to be one step forward, 5 back. But that's how life is.
Yeah.
And we have still got pretty far, no? Like that also, bumbling along the way. We'll bumble along, aage bhi.
I also feel this might be an oversimplistic answer, but for your first question of what will it take for people to watch these films, I really think the audience is not as complicated as sometimes we on the other side of making movies are. The audience is fairly simple. They watch something, if it excites them enough, they
it's coming and it's
exactly.
That's the main thing. That's where the problem occurs.
Of course, that's the second layer of a problem. But if you just address the audience with that, what will it take for them to watch it? Of course, knowing about it, and if it's good, they are waiting to give it love.
Absolutely. They want to be
They
entertained.
want to be entertained, and I am in bliss right now because over the last 5 days, every human face that has walked out after watching that has had tears in their eyes and a smile on their face. And I think right now that's what we should be happy with.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the fact that even in in what could otherwise be considered like, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? We're still here.
We're positive, we're happy that people love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I as a cinema lover can be upset at you.
Yeah.
I love that you're being here.
Please big for us.
Sitting here and celebrating. Yeah?
And maybe it will change their minds also.
Yeah.
Maybe. OE of little faith.
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा और हम पे भरोसा कर लिया होता.
Ladies, thank you for taking the time off.
Thank you so
You
much.
did this on your own time, so thank you so much. That makes me so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was good fun.
Yeah.
And we were talking about things that actually mattered to us.
Yeah.
And not just about some fussy
My
stuff.
producer asked me to ask this on camera. You should have reel with us.
Yeah.
Ouch. Now that's asking for it.